Ahoy, this is Zdenka. I can't keep quiet anymore. It's got only a few buttons on a gimbal, but you can change all the modes. You can totally operate it just from the gimbal. You don't have to go to the settings. You can film in 24 frames per second. It's got slow motion. You can even film with all those 3 lenses at the same time, ultra wide. You can even create those little moment stories. It tells you what to do step by step. It adds the music, cuts it for you in a matter of seconds. You can even edit the whole video in a video editing app. It's built in the Moza, and it's a great video editing app. Zdenka, be quiet. This is supposed to be Moza Mini MX review. And if you are new here, welcome. My name is Zdenka. If you want to learn how to take better photos and videos with the latest gear and possibly participate in creative camera challenges, consider subscribing. First of all, this is not a sponsored video. Moza has sent me this product to try and review. Moza Mini MX is foldable 3-axis gimbal. It fits in the hand and it weighs 412 grams. It is a very solid build. It's durable and comes with tripod, carrying bag, hand strap, and a charger. The fact that it is not the lightest gimbal already promises steady footage. Supported phone size is 60 to 88 millimeters, and from testing I noticed that bigger phones like Samsung Galaxy S10 Plus does really well with this gimbal. Maximum payload is 280 grams. It has built-in battery. Full charge takes about 2.5 hours, and battery life is unbelievable 24 hours if you're using the gimbal when it is well balanced. Mechanical range of pan motor is 340 degrees, roll motor is 300 degrees, and tilt motor is 140 degrees. It is time to put the gimbal to the test. Now, I've been using it with 2 different phones because I wanted to see the difference. One is iPhone 11 Pro and the other one is Android Samsung Galaxy S10 Plus. Now, right at the beginning, I can confirm that the Moza Genie app offers a little bit different options for Apple and Android, but I'm going to be showing it throughout the video. All the shots you will see, all the footage you will see is done with the iPhone 11 Pro. This is how you unfold this gimbal. Before using it, you need to unlock these 2 locks. They are here to prevent the gimbal from swinging around when you have it in your bag or carrying it. To easily attach the phone, I'm going to place it on a tripod. And as you can see, it's not a typical position for mounting a tripod on a gimbal. I asked Moza about it, why, and the answer wasn't very clear. So my understanding is pretty much for the look. So far I haven't found really much of a benefit, but my thoughts on the tripod, I'll definitely talk about it more at the end of the video. Balancing the gimbal is quite easy and very straightforward. Design leaves your ports nicely open, so you could attach external microphone if you want to. The buttons are also quite standard. You have here power button, which is also your function button. You've got here joystick, power light indicator, and zoom buttons and smart trigger. Reset button is here, and Type-C charging port is here. You will connect Moza Mini MX gimbal to your smartphone via Bluetooth, and like I said before, you will use app called Moza Genie. It's time for the first test. Let's see how smooth this gimbal really is. Let's just start with a regular walk. And let's go to full speed run. Let's look at the buttons, and as I said at the beginning, you can operate modes from the gimbal. Power button is also your shutter. If you double press the power button, you can switch between video mode and photo mode. If you press 3 times, you can switch between horizontal and vertical mode. Joystick is straightforward, up, down, left, right. Zoom buttons is where you do a lot of stuff. If you press and hold, here's where you can just zoom in and zoom out. Zoom is up to 8 times. When you press zoom plus 2 times, it will zoom in And the same goes for minus. Press 2 times to let it zoom out on its own. When you press zoom plus 1 time, this is where you can change gimbal modes. You can choose between pan and tilt or pan follow. Under zoom minus, you can choose between pan follow or FPV inception mode. Under FPV, you would use joystick left and right to roll the movement. Let me remove the tripod so I can talk about the trigger here. If you press 1 time and hold, you can move around, but your camera is always going to point to the same spot. All the motors are locked. When you press 2 times and hold, you will get to sports mode, where you can record fast-moving objects. The gimbal reacts very quickly. When you press 3 times and hold, you will be in FPV mode. If you press 1 time, you will turn on the face recognition. So if I'm recording someone or recording myself, press 1 time and the gimbal starts following me wherever I go. Let's see how well it follows. I'm gonna press 1 time and it did recognize my face. So I'm just moving around. And it follows pretty nicely. If you press the trigger 2 times, you will recenter the gimbal, and if you press 3 times, you will switch between rear and front camera. Thank you, Moza. Finally, a gimbal with only a few buttons, but you can change all the basic features and modes, everything just by clicking the buttons. That's actually very well thought through, and that's something I really like on this gimbal. That's actually a huge plus. I would like to see the range of the motion, so let me select pan and tilt follow mode and let's go up and down first. The range is 140 degrees and it's pretty good. It cannot go more because of the motor here. Let's look at the pan, and that is 340 degrees, which is quite good. It's almost 360. Let me switch to FPV and inception mode. That is 300 degrees, so when I move joystick left and right, I can control the roll, and that motion is quite large too. So in terms of functionality and all those buttons and range of movement, this gimbal is very good. Now it's time to look at the app, and as I said, we're gonna be using Moza MINI. And this app is a whole different level of app for gimbal, and I know because I've got 7 other gimbals here. Once you open it, it doesn't look like much. It looks quite simple actually. Well, let me start from the left. Smartphone and gimbal battery levels are there, as well as gimbal mode. In the lower left we have gesture control, so let me turn it on. And now when I'm gonna show start recording gesture, it should start record. And it's recording. And now to turn it off, I'm just gonna show another end shooting gesture. Done. Below you have your gallery, gimbal parameter settings where you can customize everything, speed of motors, calibrate gimbal, and right next to it we have object tracking. One thing I noticed that in automatic mode you can select brightness when you tap on the screen, but I don't see a way of locking it, which is too bad. So if you tap, but you will go from bright to dark, it will automatically change. It will not be the nice steady shot. On the right top is M moment feature. There are a lot of templates already edited with music. All you have to do is choose one from dynamic, soothe, relax, and travel. And then you just follow steps. It will navigate you to get results which you can share right away. So let me go ahead and create one. Next, we have frame rates and resolution. You can film in 4K, 60, 30, or 24 frames per second. If you're gonna be filming in 1080p, you can do 240, 120, 60, 30, and 24 frames per second. And you can do all that in 720p as well. Next, you can turn on the light or flash, and then we have shooting modes. You can take photos, videos, slow motion and time lapse. The time lapse is just very basic, just press and record. Slow motion is automatically set to 240 frames per second in 1080p. Below we have zoom slider, and at the bottom we have shutter. You can switch between front and a rear camera and a lot more. So let me select that. From the bottom here we have camera modes, lens settings where you can shoot with telephoto, wide angle, which is the standard lens, and ultra wide lens. You can also shoot with dual lens where it uses telephoto and standard lens to give more deeper look, dual wide, and even triple. I tried the triple look filming our deck on the backyard, and I was also trying it to film indoors of our house, and I can tell you right now that our deck and indoors of our house doesn't look that great in real life. The fact that it shoots with the same all three lenses at the same time, it just kind of looks like a 3D. It's just very deep and very sharp. It looks amazing. Above the lenses, you have flash. You can turn on anti-shake. You can use manual mode. You can select your frames, filters, zebra pattern, full screen preview, reference line, gradient, which shows calibration status, sound meter. It allows you to use Bluetooth microphone as well. You can also live stream or reset camera. Now this is all available with Apple phone, so iPhone. I tried the Android as well, and this is what is offered on Samsung Galaxy S10 Plus. You cannot do 24 frames per second. You can only film in 30 frames per second. You can do slow motion 240 frames per second in 1080p. Manual mode is called professional mode and is limited. You can select white balance, zoom, and exposure. When it comes to time-lapse though, you can also do motion time-lapse. So with Android, you can do more when it comes to time-lapse. So yes, creatively, you certainly get a lot more if you are filming with Apple smartphone versus Android. You could use another apps for filming. You can also use native camera app, but as Moza says, you're not gonna be able to use any of the buttons. You're not gonna be able to switch anything. It is highly recommended to use Moza Genie app. There is one more feature which is quite big, and that is built-in video editor. When you go to gallery, select clips, you can edit your video. The app is actually very good. It has many filters to choose from to change the look of your video. A lot of transitions to choose from. You can edit sound, add music, add text and graphics, and all of it is included with Moza Genie app. Let's talk about smartphones, and let's talk about that little tripod. First of all, smartphones. As you know, I tried it with a smaller phone, which is iPhone 11 Pro, and it's got those three lenses. And I also tried it with the larger phone, Samsung Galaxy S10 Plus, with also three lenses. My opinion is that this gimbal, if you have those three lenses, is a little bit better for the larger phones, because when I perfectly balanced it and turned it on and I used the ultra wide angle, I didn't see the motor in the shot. It doesn't go the same for the smaller phone though. If I have it perfectly balanced like this and I turn it on, I can see the motor in with the ultra wide shot. I asked Moza about it. They said simply just move the phone to the side. So when I do that like this, and I don't have to move it much, it's no longer perfectly balanced. But the motors on the Moza Mini MX are very strong, and I can certainly handle it. When I'm operating it, I don't hear anything, no sound, so it's not an issue at all. But keep in mind, you need to move the phone a little bit to the left. If you only have one lens, you don't have the ultra wide angle lens, then it doesn't matter. You can use any phone you want. Something to keep in mind. I also know that some of you, because I already know you, will ask me if you can attach extra lens to the smartphone. Now, if you look at the other side, there is no opening, there is no screw to attach counterweights. So my thought on this is that if you want to use extra lenses, you would have to attach some sort of a weight right on your smartphone on the other side to help balance it. And as long as you don't cross the 280 grams payload, you should be fine. Lastly, my thoughts on a tripod. If I'm using it, to be honest, I prefer removing it because I can always feel it with my finger. I always touch it. I have pretty big hands for a woman. I got big fingers, and I cannot even imagine if there is a man, like for example my dad with very big fingers, he would even have a hard time to actually getting the finger there. So if I'm filming, I do remove the tripod and it feels already so much better. And I think it's probably gonna be meant that way, that if you are using the gimbal, you're using it without a tripod. If you want it to sit on a table, you just attach it like this and then sit it down. Another thought about this tripod is that some people like to film themselves when they're doing stuff, like for example, cooking in a kitchen. And if you have it on a table, you are getting a wrong angle. It's just filming up, which is not very pleasing. A lot of people like to use big tripods like this and mount the gimbal directly on a big tripod. My issue with that is that my tripod has quite a small hot shoe there, and when I tried to mount it on a gimbal, it was okay, it was fitting. I could still get that going, but if you have a tripod with bigger hot shoe, you might not be able to even get it there because this leg here is in a way. So that's something to keep in mind if you are planning on using this gimbal with a big tripod. Overall, this is by far one of my favorite gimbals for sure. When it comes to functionality, all those buttons, and especially Moza MINI app, I actually really like those three lenses to film with them at the same time. That was something which really caught my attention. If you want to see the pricing of this gimbal in your currency based on where you live, the link can be found just below the video in the video description. Hit the thumbs up if you liked today's video, if you found it informative. Subscribe to all future videos. If you want to say hi, you have any questions or comments, you can leave it in the comment section below. And I'll see you, all of my friends, in the next video. Ciao, ahoy.